Hi everybody, May 25th and video 6 in the series. This one is all about typography. You will be hearing some things that will be somewhat inconvenient, but I have some documented evidence to show you why the DesignStudio system is a better system for you to use when handling your typography. I've included a link to a JPEG that's up on my server, which you can access, which shows you the impact of using fluid typography on a site. We're using the header of the listaway site to illustrate the relationship between H1, H2, and H3 tags and how they are affected when using any kind of fluid typography process for automatically scaling your font sizes. Don't panic, you can use fluid typography if you want with DesignStudio. There's a script in the setup that lets you do it, very easy to manipulate. We're recommending you don't use it. It's tremendously convenient, but I don't believe it hits the mark at all. And I'm going to show you why. So you can follow along with the link in this post, which will bring you to this image here, this JPEG, which is up on my server. And I'm just going to show you here the impact of fluid typography on our site. This is fluid at a large desktop size, not too much to report there. This is fluid using this is the DesignStudio typography system used on our own website. Not a huge difference, you might say. Move along to about a 1280 pixel size. That's a kind of a small desktop or a laptop size. And we're starting to push some content off the screen. In this particular case, of course, you can make arrangements for it to not push off the screen. But if you had control over the typography, if you had better control over it, you could also have the use of those tools to help you with these kinds of issues, apart from the actual aesthetic display of the fonts themselves. This is the DesignStudio equivalent. You can see that all our elements are back on the page, looking neat and tidy. That's showing about a 650 pixel height, which I think is quite realistic for that type of a machine. Moving into the next section, we have an iPad in portrait form, and you can see that things are starting to go a little bit wrong for the fluid typography. Whereas with DesignStudio, we're back to a bold and brave kind of view of our H1 through H3 tags. Going into a regular size smartphone, 375. Fluid is doing fine. DesignStudio is doing, I would say, better. And then Fluid gives up at this point, 320, no change. DesignStudio keeps working. Okay. Now, in all of this, let me say that the letter spacing, font weight, and line height are also being influenced by the DesignStudio settings. They are being shared to these designs in the Fluid setup. But bear in mind that we're proposing a new CSS framework here, and I'm not aware of another framework which provides that level of control over your H tags. With our system, you've control over not just the font size, but also the spacing, the weight, the line height, and even the color. So you can have a look at that JPEG there and come to your own conclusions. I've actually managed to draw up some graphs which illustrate this point. You see them over on the right here. The fluid typography, unsurprisingly, follows kind of a gentle path across those three tags in terms of their sizing, whereas the DesignStudio, as configured on this site by me, has a far more aggressive profile as we reduce font sizes, but then increase them again as we get down to maybe an iPad portrait size, which is your kind of newspaper tabloid size. There's great opportunities for design with iPad portrait, shouldn't be ignored. Fluid typography does ignore it, which is no good in our opinion. So we built something different. I repeat, you can use fluid typography with DesignStudio, no problem. It's only a few lines of code, but we don't recommend it. We think it's a hugely missed opportunity. And so we built our own. This is what it looks like. We're in the list away settings. Yesterday's video gave a brief intro to this settings panel. In our typography, we have weight, spacing, height for the body. We can increase our standard body size using bigger, biggest, smaller, smallest classes, and of course set the stylings for them. H1 through H6 across 6 different breakpoints built into the system. An additional little notes feature, I'll talk about that another day. And then colors. If you wish to set default colors for your H1s or for your H tags, you can do so here. They're easily overridden with classes, or else just don't use it at all. But this is how you're going to configure your font sizes. You can see, just as an example, our H1 is going from 9 rem down to 3.5 rem. The letter spacing changes. The line height in this case stays the same. The weight stays the same, but the letter spacing impacts greatly on the finished aesthetic of the font. And those settings are available across all of the H tags. So it's our opinion that fluid typography, yeah, it's great for bootstrap type sites where not a huge amount is expected. But if you want to be bespoke and boutique about the designs that you build, you're going to need closer, more granular control of your fonts, and this is how you're going to get it. Okay, hope that's self-explanatory. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you at the next video. Thanks.